funds of which the state were able to use, so it's right up past here. So right, you know where the gate ends right here and winter maintenance. So it continues on up. So they're going to be paving that this summer and doing some guardrail improvements along that.
Who's doing that?
Pine Canyon.
It's actually going. It's a county project, and we're just a pass through. But I think.
Are we addressing that, the drainage culvert that's right there on that sharp curve that's eroding back?
Not 100%. You have to show me which one, and I'll get with the designer.
Well, how far up will it be paved?
All the way.
It's already paved.
Well, it's already paved, but this is actually going in and milling it and paving it, making it a better surface, because it's pretty rough right now as it is.
We just put in regrind mill and we just roll it.
Yeah.
It's going to be widened at all?
It will not be wide. There's not enough money for that. The project is literally $1.8 million.
We did go in a couple of years ago and we did the guardrail project.
Yeah. And this is going in and kind of addressing some of the barriers just sitting right on the edge of the equipment. It's not, I don't know if it's pinned or what, but there's going to be some improvements to that. So that was about $400,000 that we're going to address the guardrail, and $1.4 million was going to be the paving. And so it's not going to be a huge, thick pavement, but it'll make it a lot better ride than
And is that done out? I mean, when does that happen?
It's actually gone out, and I don't know who won the bid.
I don't.
Do
But
you know what the
Geneva
start
did.
date is?
I don't. It's got to be uncovered in snow first. It's got to be
Well,
warm
I know,
up.
but I'm just asking, you got your Ragnar
So,
coming down.
is it a small urban project?
Yeah, that's actually a good
Park
point.
access.
I can
Yeah.
find that out for you.
And then there's the first part.
Yeah, that would mess up Ragnar a little.
South end of 40 from 189 south,
189, yes.
where it's only 2 lanes going up that way. Friday nights and Sunday nights, the people that live in those residential areas off of Airport Road and further south can't pull out of there. You got recreational traffic,
So-
bumper to bumper up in both directions.
I know-
Are they
I know.
planning to widen that area?
Yeah. I don't know that there are any plans at this point to widen it. I know that we have plans to signalize. Airport Road is really close to being signalized. And that's one that we have identified that will be signalized at some point. I just don't know when.
My next question.
It's close to warranty. So I wouldn't be surprised to see it happen. And
Yeah, we had a fatality here not too long
Yeah,
ago.
we had a fatality there.
that may bump it up
That's
real fast.
Yeah, usually a death.
Discussed in our Highway 40 access
Correct.
that it's being looked at.
Now that area
Right there.
the question I had about the widening was, I drive that every day to go home, and although it's winter causes the lines to disappear, there's a lot of foot traffic that's on that west side of the road. That people are, young kids are working that live in those neighborhoods, and they're walking. And I'm a very alert driver, but I've come real close because they can't walk down where the snow is. They can't walk back down in the mud, so they're walking on the edge of that road. And I about clipped a couple in the middle of the night as they walk home from working at the local restaurants. So I'm concerned that should be somewhere on the radar where they can widen that, just like they do have north of the city. I think it warrants it now. Trucks are speeding up. The speed's the other problem. They start to accelerate up they're
As soon as they get through
at
that last
50
line.
miles an hour just before they hit East Airport Road, and they're at 60 miles an hour just on the other side. So by the time they hit Airport Road, they're at 60 miles an hour, which when I came through right after that accident, they were just rolling the guy out of there. And that guy just misjudged the time of day and darkness and lights, and he misjudged and jumped out in front. There was no mercy for him, and he was broadsided. And I thought, SUV, it could have been a family.
Yeah.
So if they could look at widening, and I think they should think about widening that all the way to the truck,
To the
way station.
The POE.
I think that would be helpful for everybody up and down that safely getting on and off that road. So, and my last question, can they reduce that speed? I mean, it doesn't even go down, it doesn't even drop below 40 until, it doesn't go to 35 until you're north of 189.
Yeah.
I mean, and so those trucks are coming into town on that turn, they're still doing 50 miles an hour.
So I think that's kind of back to the same comment that Terry made earlier, was that it we can post it, but people aren't gonna obey it until they get started, the enforcement happens.
Enforcement, I think so.
Yeah, I think if you post it, people will slow down.
So part of it is, I think what we're trying to do is make sure the correct plan is in place for what that corridor looks like. And I know a lot of the discussions with the communities where the agreements for those corridors started out with, where does the urbanized boundary end? And how are we planning for these sections of roadway? Because to post a rural, I mean, we've got to define that first.
Okay, well,
and as they're working on that agreement, I think that's part of what they need to define, along with the local communities, is what is this section intended to look like, and then that helps us apply the right type of treatment.
It's already annexed in, isn't it? You already they already annexed in that section.
Until it urbanizes though, until it has development at the edges, it's going to be an enforcement issue over and over to try to get people to slow
That next
down.
meeting will be April 25th in the city offices at 4 o'clock.
Yeah, so my thing, my big concern about 40 and all my questions about 40 is the bypass roads are ways off. And until that time, I think we need to enforce it and get some changes on Main Street and up through that 40 corridor. And those questionable areas like from Daniel to just north of town need to be looked at real close with the traffic signals, and the widening of those roads and the pedestrian sidewalks, getting people into the home areas down at the south end of the town. And so those are my concerns about that thing. There's no bypass road coming. It ain't coming. It's not coming for a while. It's not even on your radar. But your road exists now, and it doesn't have the safety precautions that I think it warrants on that street. And the citizens here in this county, they deserve to make a left and right turn off of Main Street safely at a traffic light. They deserve to walk across Main Street safely. They deserve to travel and pull off into the neighborhood safely. And if there's no money going into this and no project being planned for a bypass road, let's beef up the safety where we can. That's my
And then that new elementary school we were telling you about, asking about your funds, that's right down there south of where you're showing right there. So that's going to be up and going in a year and a half, 2 years. So it would be wise for you guys to look at that stretch we're talking about, because that elementary school's that road's going to have to come over to US 40 there. So it is going to happen in a couple years.
It is a stretch that we're looking at through the agreement, and I think
So that's identified as one that we're going to signalize. We're looking at how to make that work with the existing buildings on both sides. We're going to have to put that at a skew a little bit and connect it through.
Has the school district notified you of that elementary school and where it is in relation to US 40?
I know Brian Phillips, he's our traffic and safety engineer. He is aware of it because of our conversations with the corridor agreement. So, but I don't think they ever actually came and told us that that's coming or anything like that. And I even live here and I didn't even know.
Well, and they don't want to build the road to the highway right now, so it's going to be a dead-end street to that elementary school, which can't be good for traffic flow. So.
One last on 40. Is there any plans in the future, or can we look at plans in the future of the sand up out of the valley from the north, adding another additional truck lane so the trucks can stay to the
Towards Park City.
Towards Park City. I know that has been brought up before, and I don't know that we have any plans.
Well, this is past summer. This is you travel.
I know.
Yeah, you know it.
You get trucks doing
each other, and
They pass each other.
I think there's the long-term look at it, but it's not coming up as our highest priority on 40.
Yeah, well,
So we've got other sections of 40 where we only have 2 lanes.
There are a number
and
another traffic accidents on that road, including a motorcycle fatality this past summer, because those trucks just come over. They're not going to lose the momentum going up, and they'll go around the other trucks, and they'll pull right in front of people. I got run off the road on that first ascent. When I first moved here, I got run right off the road. Truck driver never even saw me. He was worried more about getting another truck. And he was apologetic as I drove by him. But this motorcyclist had no chance. He was driving along, the truck pulled out from him, and he rear-ended, no brakes, nothing at the back of that truck.
And I'd say every one of those that happens, we look at in a lot of detail and see if there's anything that we could do to make the road safer, make it better, but sometimes it's a matter of trying to figure out we only have so much money to invest, and that's the really difficult thing, is the whole stretch of 40 has a lot of trucks on it and has a lot of traffic trying to interact with it, and so we have to make some choices as we go. It is on a list as an important thing to do for 40, but it's not coming up the top of the list yet. So we know it's an issue, but it's not.
Just tell the citizens, if we travel, there's only 3 ways in this county. That's one of the big routes, and I just hate to see someone get taken out because we didn't spend the money on that truck
Right,
route.
and I just tell you that having come from meetings in the basin, they have concerns too about trucks on 40, and so we try to do the best we can to balance.
Yeah, but what's
it.
the population difference between them out there, and they're not growing, because everything's depressed out there, but we're growing, and we're one of the fastest growing counties in the nation, so they're still growing out there even though the gas prices have plummeted?
Commissioners out there told us there's going to be 24 wells dropped in Duchesne County this summer. That'll bring a lot of economic burst out there, jobs. 24 wells.
Isn't some of that CIB money supposed to be handling those impacts of those wells?
Well, it goes to local governments. You have to ask for it, but they have CIB monies that's available for things.
Well, that's direct impacts
past,
from the wells.
They haven't done much of the roads with it, but
I'm just asking, because the population between Park City and Heber and the commuting of the bedroom community to Park City every morning and every evening, not to mention our commuters that go clear to Salt Lake every day. The traffic is much worse between Heber and Park City than it can be out in the Uinta Basin. I'm sorry, but...
well, they can't get across Main Street there very easy during rush hour.
We get a lot of damage too coming here.
Yep.
Yeah, you do.
What's happening around Deer Creek?
Okay, so that's where I was headed
That's
next.
never.
So
Let's move on.
This image is a little bit off. So we're widening from the existing 5-lane section that's there all the way out to, you know where the rock cut is, right before Deer Creek State Park. So this actually shows it connecting up to Charleston, and it actually, there's a 2-mile gap there. So that rock cut is really expensive to do, and so we're going as far as we can with what we've got, and then we'll have a 2-mile project at some point to connect them up.
Two lanes. Two lanes on both sides.
It'll be 4 lanes. I'm not sure if there's a median or if it's a divided one. I'm not 100% sure.
That one happens to not be Matt's
Yeah.
project, so he's kind of,
When's it supposed to start?
It's starting probably by the end of the month.
That was in the paper a week ago as one of the 5 major projects.
Yep.
Can I ask
Okay.
a question? Terry, I called you a few weeks ago about this after it bid. The parent low bidder, from what I heard, is proposing using a gravel pit that's an illegal pit in Wasatch County. It's not licensed, it's not commercial, it's in Walsburg. And we're not going to permit it. You know, I don't know what to do, what it does to your project, or what it does to the contractor on your project, but
no,
that's a problem. Just saying.
no, that's fair. You guys have to, no harm on, I mean,
Yeah, I left
that's,
a message for about 3 weeks ago, and I haven't heard back from you. I don't know what the issues were, but it's an issue to us because the landowner called us and we said, no, we're not going to allow a commercial pit there. It's been dug over the years illegally for a lot of years. He said, well, they'll come in and they'll recondition the hillside, do that. We're not going to allow it. You know, and so I don't know what that does to your project. I don't know what the contractor's going to have to do, but we'll go down there and shut them down if they go in there and start excavating. I'm just letting you know.
we're supportive of that. You guys
Yeah.
need to do what you need to do as a county, and we're supportive of that, so no issue with us there.
In my mind, and also the contract documents, they bid it, and they should have done their homework to find out if that was actually usable.
It will make it a difficult project for us,
Yeah.
but you guys have to do what
Yeah.
you need to do with it. It's not your fault, and they bid it that way, so
They have to find a
I
source.
I mean, we were
and
upfront about it with the landowner and everything, but they went ahead and did it. So, I mean, they were very aware that they bid something with a pit that wasn't legal, so.
we'll pass that on so our RE knows, and
Yeah.
at least is aware that there's an issue there.
And then So that should be starting by the end of the month approximately. Kind of give or take, just depends on how long it takes them to
Maybe a
get
little
their
later
actual.
when they find gravel.
Well, they could. But
Sorry.
a lot of these are tied to when they actually get the notice to proceed and they get all their documents in and they get back and forth and all signed. So don't hold me to the exact date on when that happens. And then we have one other project that is TAP related as well. And it's also in conjunction, we're trying to coordinate with MAG on the Provo River Parkway Trail. It's not quite showing up in here, but it's the gap from Vivian Park. We're trying to connect it on up towards the dam. And so we've kicked in $200,000 in matching funds, and MAG, Jim Price is working on a Tiger grant, and this is going to be used towards get that Tiger grant. So this is kind of matching funds. I think Utah County is committed to kicking in some money, and so we feel like we have to come up with $800,000 in matching funds to be able to get that grant. And so we're kicking in a portion of that money.
Is it for the trail?
Yeah.
Clear to Deer Creek?
From Deer Creek clear down to Vivian Park. Yeah.
So,
Is there any
Utah
projects
County
going into the Wallsburg area?
there is one in the future, and it's to widen the Wallsburg Road for the first mile, 1.1 miles.
Up and
And that one actually, it's in CD, so we're looking at like 2020. Yep, concept development, sorry. So that's the project right there.
Now, I had a question for the gentleman who spoke before you. The STP funds that are available, I was at the Wallsburg town meeting last week, I guess it was, and they were talking about this $200,000 project to widen the Wallsburg Road. Now, they were also talking about how their infrastructure, the streets in their town area, can some of that STP money be used for those streets out there in Wallsburg?
They're constrained to the scope of the projects that they apply for when they apply. So they've said that they're going to do, the main street from this milepost to this milepost, and that's what they're constrained to. They can't just take the money and do whatever they want.
Exactly. But is there other funds available that they can seek, reconstruct the roads that are falling apart within the town?
The STP for reconstructing roads, that is the main funding source. And they can have a project that's up to a $2 million maximum in that non-urban program. With that though, so that the funds are equitably distributed as much as possible, they only allow one project within that program at any given time. So they'll have to wait to apply for future projects until that Wallsburg project is completed.
Isn't it also based on the classification of the road?
Yeah, it's also based off the classification of the
But those
road.
are
That's
different.
a good point. It has to be a major
Are
collector or
those-
higher to
Are those
qualify for
different
funding.
funds though, or are they in the same group? Because the county's doing the road in. Is the town in the same category?
Can they qualify for the rural?
Don't they qualify for the,
The under 500 deal?
5,000.
5,000.
yeah,
The what?
they're under 500 population.
They're under a different fund.
That's what I'm talking about. It's the non-urban joint highway committee. That's the money that's for population 0 to 5,000. It's up to a $2 million maximum on a project, and that's what they apply toward through the joint highway.
But isn't the question if that 2 miles is a project that will preclude them from funding for what they want in town? Because the
Separate
county doing
application.
one and the city doing the other?
Different applicants.
Yeah,
They're different. Apparently, they're different applicants.
Mhm.
So yeah,
so it's okay.
they're separate projects.
And then one other project that we have that's in a similar situation that's out to 2020 and it's in concept development is 12 south from 1200 east to 3600 east. So Mill Road over to 3600 east, and that's the concept is to widen that as well.
What about the,
Sure does.
Matt, the Tiger grant for the Provo River Trail, that would be applied for, and if awarded, would that be something that would be 2017 or?
I'm not sure when that money would kick in. I think monies are available for next year, so 17th would be October.
Yes, either this
Just
October,
October would be
because
2017.
the administration's trying to award it before the election cycle. So it would be very soon.
Yeah, so the money that we put in, it becomes available in July. So it could be used as, if we feel like it's gonna move forward, we can start using that money toward design right then and get a kickstart on it.
But that 200,000 sits there until
Until we know we get it, or else we'll reallocate it if we have to.
Until you know whether you got the Tiger grant.
Yep, yeah,
Because it's the match to the Tiger
yep,
grant.
correct.
Yeah, and those are pretty competitive.
Yeah, it's highly unlikely that we'll get picked as a location.
What's the purple from Charleston up to Midway?
That looks like it's
Didn't
a
talk
pavement
about-
That's
project.
your huge one that we pulled up.
Yeah. It's a pavement rehab project for, I'm not sure which year it is.
But it's not going to widen it?
I want to say that's 18.
Yeah, we've identified that with some tap project or something in the future to widen it, because the shoulders are literally painted in the grass in some locations on there.
Yeah.
Some in the cat.
Well, and since we don't have a bypass road around Heber, that has become the bypass road. So River Road, 240 on the north, and they shoot right down through Charleston, so that's our new bypass road.
Yeah, it is. It's being used as a bypass.
That was a faster route in 1970 when I was at BYU. It was faster.
So,
How fast you were driving, yeah.
Well, there weren't cops along it. That helped.
There's still not many cops.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I know that, yeah, it's been, we've been looking at that one for a long time, and trying to figure out a way to widen it. There's a lot of wetland issues through there too.
Again, that's another example of how it's hard to, where's the best place to invest it? Even just this area, you guys have a lot of needs. And so it's even hard to balance out what the needs are here. So it's not trying to be an excuse, but it's just, it's the reality of the money we have.
well, what
There's a lot
happens
of needs.
on all these issues on Main Street Heber ends up funneling out to different areas of our valley. So now 300 West in Heber City is now a bypass for Main Street. It isn't designated as such, but that's kind of what has happened, because they come right down from Walmart and go straight up to First South. So that's a bypass road, and then this Charleston Road is a bypass road as well.
If you
And-
factor in what Tracy said earlier,
And I
that
think,
percent of population growth would give us some priority over areas that aren't.
Growing to
Our
the
needs are growing
rate that we
faster
are.
than Provost's needs.
and I think part of 300 South, or
300
East
West.
and West,
Yeah.
actually both of them, they've removed the stop signs and made it so that you can get throughput through there, rather than stopping every block. And that's just actually trying to design and accommodate your traffic. So, I mean.
So you don't
that's-
send everybody to Main Street.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So-
Well, and that's the thing, so
that's- to me,
when
that
you
means it's
decide not to do the bypass road on the west side of Heber, these other things are happening in the meantime, is all we're saying. So while you're doing Charleston Road, that may be a great place to compromise with us and say, maybe we should widen Charleston, it's already there, people are already using it. And then River Road going up through Midway as well, 400 East, that goes into River Road, that we see delivery trucks take that route instead. So it's not just pedestrian, small cars, but it's already happening. It's already a problem, so.
Yeah, that's the way traffic works. Takes
Yep.
the path of least resistance. So, I think that's all the projects that we have right now, currently going and what's planned right now. So, you don't have very many needs, so.
So Matt, we recently applied for BART recently applied for a small urban grant that's gotten tentative approval from that committee, but it still has to get, I think, joint highway approval. But that would be to try and extend what we call Heber Parkway from all the way to Highway 40 off of 189. It's down to Daniel Road, and take it from Daniel to Highway 40. And that's a 2021 project if it keeps moving forward.
Talking Daniel Road.
Have you decided where to?
Zoom in on the 189 and 40 intersection area.
So, right here.
So you see the connection between 189 and Daniel Road? It would come south and then go back east to Highway 40.
Right through there.
So
Kind of trying to make a little bit of a loop.
That's part of the bypass.